friends. I want to introduce Dr. Marita Wiggins before you. She's going to be teaching a class on behalf of Valley Community Church Divine Science. And you will be listening to the psychology of the subconscious mind.
The power.
The power of the subconscious mind. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop them, whatever service you're listening to on Facebook or YouTube, and she will get back to you as soon as possible. Marita, you ready?
Yes.
I am, okay.
Well, I wanted to welcome both of you here. We have a very small group today, but that's okay. It always reaches those people who can most use it.
Yes.
That's what we're assured of. I thought I ought to say a little bit about my background. I was in the original group that started the Divine Science Church, and we were meeting down at the Patrick Henry Hotel and growing. The Federation, the Divine Science Federation, was able to send us some ministers. We had 2 ministers, and then there wasn't anybody else. And most of the group, and it was a fair-sized group too, probably 20, 25, 30, had left because Unity could send them a minister. But there were 6 of us left. And so after a while, I took the responsibility of not only reading messages, but then delivering them myself. And it grew from there, and here I am today. We built this church in 1980, and I had graduated from Hollins, and I got a master's degree in psychology. I'll rephrase that. I got an undergraduate degree in philosophy, in psychology, and then a graduate degree in an MED in counseling from the University of Virginia. So I bring that to my background, and it has certainly enriched my life, and I've been able to give portions of it away to others who are interested in listening. Now, this talk is based on Dr. Joseph Murphy's book by the same name, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And I knew Dr. Murphy. He was at some of the conferences, Divine Science conferences that I was at, and so I got to know him, not really well, but certainly to say hello, that sort of thing. And I think of him when I talk about or seek to do this class. Now, you could read the book if you wish, but I think I've covered the most important points in my talk. I'm available for counseling and practitioner work if anybody should be interested. And if you ever want to bring somebody who just as a guest, please do so. We'd love to have them. This Sunday, we have a very special event, and that is a gentleman that we are considering to speak on a regular basis at the church and possibly to become the senior minister. His name is Reverend Sean O'Shea. He's a musician as well as a speaker, and speaks very well. And I would hope that some of you, if you can't come on Sunday, I invite you to listen in, see what he has to say. He's also doing a workshop on Saturday from 10 to noon. That's this coming Saturday. And I'm sure it would be an interesting and useful way to spend a couple of hours. Now to the power of your subconscious mind. There's a gross contradiction in life, and we've all noticed it. Why is it that some people have so much and other people have so little? Even more these days, the haves and the have-nots are on different ends of the economic spectrum, as it has not been before. Why is it that you and I have comfortable homes and have cars? That's how you got here today. You have enough to eat, you have clothing you like to wear, and there are literally millions of people in this country who don't have these things. They are unable to make ends meet. They are working, but they're not paid enough. And sometimes they are having to work 2 or 3 jobs. Even if they are very careful with their means, it just doesn't stretch far enough. Some people are sleeping in their cars these days. Others are homeless. And so many have no hope. But even though in our country some bad conditions exist, these conditions are so much better than they are in many, many parts of the world. We enjoy so much, and others enjoy so little. For a lot of people around the world, there's nothing they seem to be able to do to change the things in their life. It is an impenetrable barrier to a better life. For us, there is that American expectation that we can make things better. There are opportunities. And if we work hard, it's going to come around. It's going to get better for us and better. Now, we look around ourselves and we see some very wealthy men who are immoral, unscrupulous, use others to whatever advantage they need. They're unreasonable, demanding, complaining. And then there are good men and women who really deserve to prosper, to succeed, and they don't. I know of a certain wealthy man who at times really, he is like a maniac. He loses his temper, he screams at people, he abuses them, verbally threatens them in order to get what he wants, and he has everything that money can buy. Now, something inside us says, anybody that mean ought to be poor. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And in the same way, some very talented people linger in poverty and anonymity, painters, musicians, and while others with just a little bit of talent or just a crazy idea make a huge fortune just with that. Why is that? Why is it that some people live contented lives, happy lives, and others live with ongoing frustration, one disappointment after another after another? Now, for instance, Ernest Hemingway and Somerset Maugham were very, very talented men, very famous and very well-to-do, but at the same time, they were very unhappy people. So having everything you need plus does not ensure happiness at all. Now, there are some people who go to a healing shrine like Lourdes in France or Fatima in Portugal, and they are good people, well-meaning people, believing people, and they're healed, some of them, but not everybody. Somebody who seems to be just as well, good and deserving as the ones who were healed, were not healed. Some people enjoy resounding good health. I was talking to a cousin, and at 95, she takes no medication. She is just fine. She hears well and sees well and thinks well. That's something that not everybody can look forward to. They could look forward to it. It's a terrible contradiction. It really is. It's an affront to logic. It's unreasonable unless there's a law in operation that we really haven't seen in the midst of life. It's sort of invisible. It is a law, though, that can bring reason into this kind of chaos that we see everywhere. Well, there is such a law, absolutely. And once you know what this law is, you begin to understand why these seemingly unfair, crazy things happen in the world. You also learn how to bring order into the pockets of chaos that might exist in your life, because we have them. Everybody's got those places that are not working well for us, are a real difficulty. Could be health, possibly. Could be finances. It could be discontent with or worry about ourselves. Not physically, but in other ways. Why do I act this way? It could be the job. It could be friends that are hard to handle, or family that is having problems. It might be that we're processing anger or fear or frustration in some sector of our lives. You know, you have to fill in the blank because everybody's got them. Even the most seemingly secure and successful people have these pockets of difficulty. It's part of life. Now, this law that I just mentioned is a universal law. And when we use it wisely, it gives us an inner power, much larger degree of control over our lives than we would have thought possible. It's something so important for us to know about, and yet few know. In divine science, we believe that God has already placed certain characteristics, certain capabilities within each of us so that we can live lives of joy, of abundance and triumph. That these things are within us, and so they are automatically available to us. Any and every good and loving human father would do such a thing if he could for his children, without any doubt. God did. God brought us and gave us all these capacities, not all of which do we understand or know how to use. There are treasures within us that are unknown to us, undreamed of within us, but are nonetheless very much there. Now, think of what you have available to you, more than you dream. As you grow in understanding, these things become available. Now, the law, the tool that you're going to begin to use to unlock these treasures both within you and outside of you, that will help you to extend a positive influence in any and every part of your life, can be stated a number of ways, really. It's referred to in the Bible in several places, in both the Old and New Testament. Now, I'm going to be using various names for it, but in Proverbs, we hear this mental law stated so clearly. It's in Proverbs 23:17. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, we realize that the writer of Proverbs wasn't talking about our physical heart, not by any manner of means. He was talking about the deepest level of feelings and beliefs that we have, that deeper level of consciousness, which we identify as the subconscious mind. Now, we've come to know that the subconscious mind is a great deal more extensive than the conscious mind. It's in its own way, it's a great deal more powerful than the conscious mind. Subconscious mind is able to do things in and through the body that the conscious mind couldn't begin to do. Years ago, when I was a kid, one would occasionally see or hear of stage hypnotists. When they had a good subject, they could do all sorts of things. They could take a pencil and say to the good subject that this is a lit cigarette, and put it out, the pencil out in their mind. And they would develop a burn from that, from a pencil. Or conversely, the subject might feel that there is a piece of ice in his hand, and it really is a cigarette, but his palm gets cold rather than burned. I've seen, actually, not quite the same, but very close to the same object or process of a hypnotist telling an individual that their body is absolutely stiff, and whereupon they put the hypnotized subject put his head on one chair and his feet on another chair, and there is no sagging in between, and in fact the hypnotist sits down on the subject's stomach and in an unsupported part of the body, and then of course he gives a post-hypnotic suggestion that the back is in perfect shape, it's relaxed, it's pain-free, and it is. There's no damage, there's no pain afterwards for this subject. Certainly, when I was in my teens, there was a great many people talking about taking seminars in fire walking. That is, walking across 1,200-degree coals. Now, we're not really interested in suspending ourselves between two chairs or walking across 1,200-degree coals on the ground, but there are so many other things that would be helpful, would be very practical, like being able to heal the body. But the subconscious can do a great deal more than just that, believe it or not. Through it lies the source of really remarkable power and creativity, all waiting to be expressed, waiting for you to open the door. Now, it can reveal anything you really need to know, what you want to know. It can help you develop new inventions or new discoveries. It can bring forth innovative ideas for books or plays or some new business insight that would be very helpful and very good paying as well for that. It can reveal your true place in life to you, and so many people wonder about that very important question. Through the wisdom of this inner part of you, you can attract the right companion. You can add depth, if you already have a companion, to that relationship. You can attract the right business partner to yourself. You can find a buyer for your house if you're selling it. You can create solutions to other problems that will help you to acquire financial freedom. The subconscious mind helps you to tap an invisible and yet unlimited power. But like everything else, you have to become more skilled at its use. Certainly, you can bring this power and to bear in your minds and be sure that its result is going to be in exact proportion to your knowledge of both the principle behind it and to the degree that we remember to use it. We forget to use this immense power within us. Unfortunately, we're apt to sort of wallow around in our problems. We don't have to put up with those problems. But we adjust our lives, we adjust our thinking, and the problems remain. They don't hurt as bad, they don't take as much time, but nonetheless, they're there. And we've made adjustments, as I said, for it. But we don't have to put up with these problems. We don't have to endure life. We can enjoy life. We don't have to put up with difficulties. Difficulties that we've taken for granted maybe for years. Too often, we live in a self-limited existence. We haven't considered the possibility that we could do a great deal better, and life could be freer and more wonderful. We could experience contentment and abundance and happiness. Settling for average is not an easy thing to do if you have great needs, if there's this longing within you. It is, though, a mental habit that one can break. But we can absolutely do that. Many other people have. They have. They assume that they can, and then they will have a buoyant, abundant life, a joyful life, and life responds to their expectations. It's said that Catherine Ponder, the writer, she and her husband always flew first class and always had the bridal suites at the hotels that they stayed in. She expected the best, and she got it. The principles that underlie the subconscious mind are as reliable as the principles that underlie physics and math and chemistry. The principle is also just as impersonal as the law of gravity. Doesn't matter whether you're the King of England or just the average person who walks down an icy sidewalk and gets deposited on their backside on that sidewalk. The law of gravity is impersonal. Electricity works impersonally. For people who have little, have much, it matters not. Metal always expands when it is heated, whether it's heated in Roanoke or Moscow or Timbuktu. It's always following its own parameters and principles. Now, the subconscious mind works impersonally. This explains why we see good people having many, many problems and not so good people experiencing just remarkable success. It's an impersonal law. Impersonal, and whoever is successful, in what area of life they are successful, they are using this principle whether they realize it or not, whether they feel it, understand it, or not. Now, I'm going to briefly recap what I've said before. There is this deeper level of consciousness within us called the subconscious mind. It exercises control over every imaginable aspect of our lives, physical, mental, monetary, creative, and on and on and on. We have to train ourselves to begin to remember to use this force. It's totally impersonal. Everybody can use it. Everybody actually does use it, whether they know it or not. So, how does the subconscious mind work? We can begin to talk about how it works by quoting a really remarkable passage from the New Testament. It's in Mark 11:23. Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. there's that heart again. But there are no equivocations in this statement. Jesus said, do this, and he didn't say, maybe things will come to pass. He said, they shall have whatsoever they say. Requirements for getting whatsoever, we say it, were you didn't doubt in your heart. And two, you believed those things would come to pass. That really encapsulates so well, so beautifully. Our old friend, the heart, is repeated, which we can now translate as the subconscious mind. That's what the heart is. Mark's statement is really saying you can't have subconscious doubts. You need to inwardly generate the expectation, the conscious, consistent belief that these things are going to come to pass. So, in this startling statement of Jesus can be translated simply to say, if you consciously believe that a certain thing can come to pass and you don't have any subconscious doubts, then watch out. It's going to come to pass. Now, what is belief? What is consciously believe? Your belief is something that you consistently think. If someone asked you your belief about something, you would automatically tell them what your belief about it is, and there it is. Something that's not immediate usually, but fairly long-standing. I believe this for X, Y, Z. Now, it's apropos time to talk about the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the waking mind. It's the mind that makes decisions. It's the source of our everyday thoughts. It gives us our awareness of ourselves. The conscious mind is not our memory bank. We recall past events through it. With a conscious mind, we reason, we understand, it measures, it compartmentalizes, it categorizes. All sense impressions are filtered through it. Because only one thing can be held in consciousness at a single time, it tunes everything else out. You only can think of one thing at a time. Now, there's some people who seem to be able to carry or handle a couple or more things at a time in their minds. But what is happening is that they are concentrating briefly on several things. But there is only the one thing that can really be held in mind. The conscious mind sees the trees rather than the forest. On the other hand, the subconscious mind is an unsuspected power source in life, and it functions very differently from the way the conscious mind does. It does not have the power of logic. It only acts on what it's told, like a magnificent computer. It does what it's told. A hypnotist says that the body is going to become rigid, but the subconscious mind doesn't use any logic or reason, and it doesn't say, huh? That doesn't sound like a good thing for you to do, and this is not right. No, it just makes the body rigid. Subconscious mind is the repository of memory, all memories. We retrieve the memories through the conscious mind. And everybody knows that moment of holding or pausing for just a second, and then the name will come into mind, or the event, or the whatever. But there is that little pause in there. The conscious mind retrieves the memory, the name, whatever, from the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is the scene of all emotions, habits, intuition. It takes care of all the bodily functions, all heartbeat, respiration, digestion, elimination, everything that doesn't include the power of choice. Our bodies continue to operate beautifully, and without our thinking, I have to breathe now, my heart has to beat. We never think of those things. The subconscious mind takes care of our metabolism, the fine balancing of the endocrine system. It heals all our wounds. It keeps the body in a state of health and balance most of the time. A number of weeks ago, I talked about how the subconscious mind runs our day so efficiently. For instance, we get in the car and we're thinking about things we have to do, but the subconscious mind is what is driving the car. It stops at the stop signs, it stops at the stop lights, it handles all the right things, it goes the right speed, it gets us very efficiently to where we are going, and we don't think twice about it. It certainly wasn't the conscious mind that was handling these things. And it's so true of our just habits in life. We do them automatically. Don't think twice about it. Did I brush my teeth before I went to bed? Of course we did. Because it's part of the habit. It's part of what's programmed into the subconscious mind. It will, in times of great emergency, spring into action. It takes command and it acts with remarkable accuracy and power and speed, perhaps to save the life of an individual or one's own life. For instance, and we've all heard this tale before, how a man picks up a car off of his little son and somebody else pulls the child out from under the car. But under normal circumstances, that man couldn't pick up a car. Impossible. Subconscious mind is our gut feelings about people and things. You meet somebody and there's something not quite right somehow. All our phenomena that is paranormal, such as telepathy, which is thought transference, or precognition, that's knowing something ahead of time before it happens, or psychokinesis. A man by the name of Uri Geller, psychokinesis is moving things with our minds. He used to be able to not touch, but sort of stroke over a spoon, and then the spoon would bend, and he could do it at will. But it wasn't thinking. It was the subconscious mind knowing that this could be done and would be done. Again, though, except in the case where the life of the individual or another person is in danger, it doesn't have reasoning power. The man who sees another man with a machine gun mowing down people doesn't think before he rushes and knocks him down and takes away the weapon. There is no thought between between the movement between where he was before and his work to do away with this danger for other people. The subconscious mind just carries out orders, and the order might have been, you have to protect people, you have to help people. And because time and again, people have been asked, why'd you do it? Well, they don't know, they just did it. Now, subconscious mind carries out orders that are implanted in it, suggestions that are given to it. We are being given suggestions all the time for the subconscious mind. The suggestions are in the form of thought. We need to start being very careful about what we're thinking, what we are programming into the subconscious mind. Now, our parents programmed a great deal of information into our subconscious mind in the way they taught us, they acted to us, said to us, how they treated other people, their strong beliefs. We often find that just an automatic reaction because our parents believed and did that. Certainly, these things program the subconscious mind, especially unpleasant experiences or frightening experiences begin to make us avoid those circumstances and even react very violently in those circumstances. The subconscious mind is like a garden, and you are the gardener, and you are planting thought seeds into your garden all the time. The subconscious mind is certainly what it says and does to you is determined by your habitual thinking, what you're thinking about, what your beliefs are all the time. Now, what you plant is determined by your habitual thinking. It isn't the occasional thoughts that come in. That doesn't program the subconscious mind. It is what you dwell on, what you say to yourself, and you repeat it mentally over and over. Most importantly, it is the thoughts that are connected with strong emotion. That's quickly and surely implanted in the subconscious. You're planting seeds all the time. And the seeds of thought come to fruit as your experience. What you plant in the subconscious, you deeply felt somehow as beliefs and opinions, whether they're negative or positive. And that is what becomes your experience in life. Now, there are circumstances like wars, and men who go off to war, who get deeply programmed by their experiences, having their best friend killed standing right beside them. I heard of a man who had a great deal of military experience, and he was in a house, talking with people, and somehow outside a car backfired, and he immediately hit the ground. Behavior that is caused by terrible experiences and can influence one's life for the rest of one's life, unless the programming is changed. Now, you don't like certain parts of your life. You don't have to waste time blaming your parents or your old boss or the people who are mean, unpleasant to you, your ex-spouse or ex-partner, or blame yourself either. Whoever did the planning can change the plants when you want to change those plants. You can change your thoughts. You can change your programs, and thereby you can change your experience in life. Emerson said, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." Sure, he lives that, he exudes it, and he experiences it. For instance, some friends told this young guy that it was impossible. He wanted to go to New York and live there and work there. No, what are you trying to do? It's tough to get work in New York. Well, he didn't pay any attention to them. He went to New York, he sublet an apartment, and he had a job in 4 days. So you don't listen to the naysayers. You have to keep sowing seeds of happiness and abundance and fulfillment and expectation that things are going to work out fine. The subconscious mind will then attract those things to you. People who exude optimism and confidence and friendliness and competence, opportunities flow to them. And people are attracted to them because of what they are carrying in their conscious and subconscious minds. Now, why? Why does the subconscious mind have the power to create and recreate your experience in life? Why? There are good reasons why and how. But first we need to look at man's relationship to the universe. Human beings are a single unit of energy and matter, and yet in a strange and wonderful way, mysterious way, each of us is connected to one another and connected to a universal source of creative energy. Now, there are people in this room who believe this, and I don't know who's looking at it through the means here of communication. But for everybody to whom it is new, I'm going to ask that you accept, just temporarily, Mary, maybe, this idea that there is another way to look at the universe. Actually, this way is a much more contemporary scientific one than the old view of the universe. We used to think that the universe was composed of large chunks of dead matter in the forms of suns and planets, and were whirling around stellar dust and gas. Most people have seen the universe largely as an empty vacuum. That's the only view. But in the last 60, 70 years, physicists have given us a very different view of our universe. Interestingly, they have begun to speak in ways that are reminiscent of what mystics say. And what do mystics say? A mystic is someone who taps into a deeper reality. He or she has spiritual experiences where they learn things that we can't learn through our limited five senses. These days, we have the giants, both past and present, the giants of science and mathematics, physics, saying things that sound downright mystical. Einstein said, matter is energy reduced in vibration to the point of visibility. Oh, I've used that so many times. In other words, everything we see, everything we perceive through our five senses is energy manifesting. Everything. Balls are not dead matter. They are energy, scintillating, swirling energy. They're a dynamic event in time and space. We see them as just balls. We see the floor as floor. But it is energy in expression. Now, we can't see that, of course. We can't feel it because of the limitations of our five senses. But it is the truth. Werner Heisenberg, very, very famous scientist and one of the founders of quantum physics, said it over and over. Atoms are not things. Conjuring a picture of elementary particles is misrepresenting them. In other words, atoms are energy. He's saying just exactly what Einstein said, but he said using different words. What we see as matter is slowed down energy. James B. Porter, he was another physicist, said, we see a universe in which substance has no meaning. There's nothing in the universe but life. What an interesting way to perceive it. What we once thought of as dead matter and vacuum is in fact an energy expressing itself. It's a livingness. It's a universal life principle. Now, what did the mystics say? They said the universe is a living presence. Of course, they labeled that presence, that basic energy of the universe, that all-knowing energy. They named that God. Philosopher Paul Tillich once said, God is the ground of the universe. We look at the universe as the living presence of God, expressing. And when we say that to ourselves, everything is God expressing. Then St. Paul's words make a whole lot better sense, and he said this in Acts. In him we live and move and have our being. Yes, we are part of the energy of God. We live in a sea of divine energy. We live in a sea of universal intelligence expressing as the basic stuff that we and everything that we experience is made of. Now, if we can keep this view of the universe in mind, then we can begin to consider how we link up with all of that. I'm going to give you a diagram of how it is possible that our minds work and how we really are inseparably connected with each other, the universe and universal mind. Now, would most scientists agree with me? Probably not, but they don't have a better explanation of how consciousness works. So, for us, it's absolutely permissible, necessary, to look at the universe in relationship to us in that way. Now, I'd like to stop for a minute. If anybody would like a short break, to use the restroom or to just stretch, anybody have need of that?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Now, you generally had enough people so that I could request them to get in groups, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And since we only have 2 of you, you're the group. So, now I've gone into some depth already about how the conscious mind sees individual things rather than the whole picture. Sees forests, or sees trees rather than forests. We don't see the overall picture so often. The conscious mind exercises logic, filters impressions of the senses, makes decisions, compartmentalizes, judges. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the filter. I'm going to give you a diagram, and anybody who's looking at this plug, get in touch, and I'll send you this. Thank you, madam. And also, I need to give you this as well. It's a half a piece of paper. And it asks, what do I want from this class? And this is a question you're going to need to ask yourselves. Now,
Is this homework or do you want us to do it right now?
in a few minutes, in a little bit. The diagram talks about the conscious mind, and it also next talks about the filter. This is something I'm going to get back to much more fully in the next class lessons. It's the filter is composed of beliefs and attitudes, but these beliefs and attitudes are changed with the input of new information, more information. The filter is often the part of us that distorts or modifies the material that goes between the conscious and the subconscious mind. And as I said, I'll explain this much more fully. Then next comes the subconscious mind. And that I too have described inexhaustibly before. It's the seat of intuition, memory, habit, emotions, feelings. Functions below the level of awareness and manages all the involuntary body functions. It heals. There's a point at which, though, the individual subconscious blends into the individual superconscious. And what is that? The individual superconsciousness is what we refer to as the soul, the spirit. Its qualities are love, wisdom, intuition, peace, joy, power, creativity. It's the image of God in us. In other words, it contains all the highest and most compassionate and loving, wise thoughts and feelings that we know. And finally, there is the universal subconscious, subconscious. And our individual subconscious or superconscious is a part of this universal superconscious. Well, I'm going to say that again because I mispronounced it. The universal superconscious is, we are a part of that universal superconscious. Our individual superconscious is part of that. Universal superconscious is the mind, the love, energy, the power, the intelligence of God. It's the universal life principle. It's all the wisdom, all the good, all the abundance, perfectly balanced. It is something that we are directly connected with. Inwardly, we are absolutely and completely connected with God. Now, the great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung talked about the universal unconscious. That's what we call the universal superconscious, the mind of God. We call it universal unconscious, we call it universal superconscious, but it is God. And that indescribably marvelous mind. Jung hypothesized the existence of this universal unconscious because he found that there were certain symbols and themes that cropped up over and over again in the myths and the legends, the dream symbols, and the folk tales of all the world's peoples. Jung hypothesized that this universal unconscious was the common denominator in all the deepest level of our minds. It's a place where we are all one. This explains why certain phenomena occurs. Why? We are all one. A woman sits up in bed one night and knows that her sister has just suffered a heart attack. And she makes a frantic phone call to the sister, and after many rings, it's finally answered by her sister, who's gasping and can't breathe, this terrible pain in her chest. And it is the intervention of the sister who calls 911 and sends them to the sister's aid, one who's having the heart attack, and her life is saved. Now, how did she know? How could she possibly know that this was going on with her sister? Because at one level of mind, we are all connected. Not this kind of thing has happened time and time again. Mothers, fathers, children, spouses, partners, dear friends have intuitively known that something serious was happening to a loved one. At a very deep level of mind, we are one with one another, and we are one with the mind of God. Now, for anybody who doesn't believe as we do in this room, if they're new to these ideas, they might sound strange, but to say that thought is cause is putting it very simply. That's what we believe. The conditions of your outer experience are the effects brought about by what your conscious mind habitually dwells on. Consistent thoughts and beliefs program the subconscious mind. The link between the conscious and the subconscious is constant, instant. It's absolutely important, essential that you take charge of your thoughts. You discipline your thought thinking so that you are going to be attracting and creating only the desirable conditions you really want in your lives. You have to, though, think positive, compassionate thoughts, because once we deposit those seed thoughts in the subconscious, they are acted upon. We want constructive, harmonious, peaceful anticipations of success and health and order. We have to put in what we want out. The subconscious mind brings about conditions that are lovely experiences, successful experiences. When we think in those terms, when we watch what you think, you control your thought and you control its effect, because thought is cause. Now, to somebody who hasn't heard this before, and who these are new thoughts and questionable thoughts, perhaps, hard to believe, I would suggest that you take it as a working hypothesis, as something that you can hold in mind temporarily, just for a while. If you think negative thoughts and you can experience negative experiences, when you refuse to let negative thoughts in your mind, when you contradict them, when you act as though something was true, and see what begins to happen, what you will find is that you will be surprised at how effective this is. You control your thought, and you can use the limitless power within you, and it is limitless. You use that to achieve all sorts of wonderful things. Control thought. You will, of course, control your imagination, and don't we have negative imagination sometimes, and negative emotions. Control thought, and those other things will be controlled. Marry your positive thoughts, your positive feelings, and your imagination together. Have them in sync, and you're going to plant seeds of such vigor, of such strength in your subconscious mind that they will choke out. They're going to supplant anything negative, anything contradictory. It is the world within, thoughts, feelings, imagination, that in conjunction with the power of the subconscious mind makes up our world of experience. That's the influence of this dynamic, limitless, and irresistible creative force within you. Once you properly use the conscious and the subconscious minds, you can change your life. Try these ideas. Try them. most people try to change their lives by working on the outer with the conditions and the situations in their environment. But to successfully remove discord, lack, ill health, limitations, you have to remove the cause. And the cause is the way you are using your conscious and your subconscious mind. Now, this week, your homework is going to be to start watching your speech and your thoughts. You know, it's very interesting that you have to listen to that stream of thought very, very closely. Because thoughts are so familiar, they're almost silent, they flit through your mind, and you're in perfect agreement with it. They flit in, they flit out. Sometimes they're more feelings than they are even thoughts. You're going to begin to see exactly why you are not enjoying the things you want in your life. Listening to your thoughts. Watch your speech. Become aware of how many times you say, well, I can't do that. I don't like to do that. That's the worst show ever. You can say things like, I always mess up with this. I never get it right. Or, that just makes me sick. Hear that? Just makes me sick. I can't stand that. Listen to what you say. Literally. Your subconscious mind doesn't deal in expressions or colloquialisms. It has no sense of humor whatsoever. It takes you exactly at your word, saying, that makes me sick, can eventually make you sick. A woman had a situation in her life which she kept saying, can't stand it, I just can't stand this. And after a while, her rheumatism became so bad that she couldn't stand. She literally spent the rest of her life in a wheelchair. It galls me. It just makes me angry. It galls me to hear about it. Watch what you might be doing to your gallbladder. It burns me up. I'd rather die. You say them enough and watch out. They might indeed become your experience. Dr. Maxwell Maltz used to say, before I die, I want to speak to a great assembly in Europe. Well, he did, and he died very shortly afterwards. Your word is your law. When you keep saying, I can't afford that, your subconscious mind will take you exactly at your word, and you won't be able to afford it. Now, what you probably mean by that phrase, I can't afford it, is not that you can't afford it, but there are other things that are more important for you in your life. But the subconscious mind will take you exactly at your word. Actually, you can afford almost anything. You might have to save for a while, or get a part-time job, or do without some other things that you would like, but it's not as important to you as this. You could find a way to earn some extra money to get whatever you want. Very, very, a thing you wanted very, very much. You could afford it. But if you keep saying, I can't afford it, the subconscious mind will follow your orders and ensure that you experience lack. Who wants to experience lack? No one. I heard of this experience and I thought a little unusual, but it was a true experience of a young woman, a young university student, who was doing some last-minute Christmas shopping, and she went past a jewelry store window, and there was a perfectly beautiful pair of sapphire earrings in it. And she almost said to herself, well, I could never have that. I couldn't afford it. And she stopped herself. She heard about the power of the subconscious mind, and she knew she should always reverse a negative sentence, not to finish it. She should always say that sentence, the complete opposite of it, because she didn't want any limitations in her life. Well, she said instead to herself, I accept those earrings as mine. I will enjoy them, I will wear them and use them, and I accept them. And what happened after she had that feeling of pleased expectancy, because she did, how would it feel to be able to wear them? As I said, it was last minute shopping that she was doing. And on Christmas Eve, her fiancé gave her exactly the same earrings. Now, impossible? No. Stranger things have happened. After you use these ideas for a while, you begin to find impossible, unusual, unexpectedly beautiful things commonplace. Now, I know for a fact the two people, two women that I'm going to talk about for a moment. One of them was a divorced parent of one son. She was working in a menial job, I should say, and just enduring life, living at home too. But she decided that she would go to college at night, and she started doing that. And she graduated from college, and then she went to law school, I believe also at night. And the last I heard, she had a very good job, I believe, with the Labor Department, something like that. But she was an active lawyer and earning a very, very good living. Now, the other one that I know of, she was living with a guy. She dropped out of school, and she decided to go back to school, and she kept going to school. She got a PhD in archaeology. She worked in Africa for a number of years, and then she came home and got married, and well, at least a few years ago, she was teaching at a college level and living in Georgia. So life can change dramatically, remarkably. You can achieve it more than you dream possible when you use the subconscious mind in a positive way rather than a negative one. Now, as you drive away from home, I want you to say firmly to yourself, I'm going to find a parking space very close to where I need to go. Now, perhaps you have specific parking places, maybe you don't, but not having to go too far to get someplace where you need to go is a very nice thing. And feel good about it. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be a good feeling. Don't let any conscious thought negate it, and then dismiss it. You're going to be driving to your destination, and you will be amazed, really, at the way someone is just pulling out when you need to pull in. There'll be a space right there in front of the place where you're going to go. As I said, don't believe me. Try it. Try it. Start reversing every negative sentence. I'm choosing the shortest, fastest moving line in the supermarket, not I'm standing here and that person just keeps holding everything up. I am choosing the shortest, fastest moving line in the supermarket. Instead of I keep waking up all night. How about saying to yourself as you go to bed at night, I'm sleeping like a baby. I'm sleeping comfortably all through the night. Don't give anything the power to hurt you. a man who was a divine science minister by the name of Dr. Jack Holland. He was a good friend, very good friend. He was the head of the Department of Management at San Jose College, San Jose State University, I should say. And he had been elected to be the most outstanding professor over and over and over again in that very large school. He went to North Africa at one time, and one of the things that were routinely served was lizard. But they had large lizards, and they cooked it and ate it. Well, he ate it, and it came up. And every time he ate it, the same thing happened. And a man came to him and told him to bless the food. And after he blessed the food, he could keep it down. Interesting. Changed his subconscious mind by blessing the food. And my dear little mother-in-law, God bless her heart, used to say that she didn't like to go out at night in the wintertime because the night air would always give her problems. It would give her colds and so forth. And she believed it firmly, and of course she programmed her subconscious mind that she would indeed have a laryngitis and get a sniffle. The supreme contradiction was that she slept in a bedroom without any heat, with the window open. It was like a refrigerator. Cold air when you were in bed was okay. But if you have a heavy coat on and a muffler and a hat and gloves and overshoes on, the cold air made you sick. Now, there's no logic to that whatsoever, but that was what happened with her. It can happen to us if we're not careful. We all need to follow the suggestions of St. Paul in 1 Corinthians. Beautiful, powerful statement. Think on whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, are just, pure, lovely, of good report. If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Well, that's going to be a serious overhaul of our conscious minds for many of us. If you think consistently of that, beauty and pure and lovely, of good report, honest, etc., what are you going to plant in your subconscious mind? Beauty. You will plant powerful thoughts of great beauty, and you will experience them. Now, shall we just take a few minutes and think about the question on this half page? What do you want? What do you want from this class? What do you want to change?
Do you mean generally or like specific traits that you'd like to see erased in your life? Either. All of the above.
Right. You need something to write with. Yeah. Oh, let's see. I know I have something to write with. Let me send mine.
Do you think since we're live, we should talk about them out loud while we're writing?
If you feel comfortable about it.
Oh, yeah.
If you feel comfortable about discussing this.
I just think it might be more interesting for people who are listening.
If you have to start by thinking about it
Yeah.
and writing it down.
I think when I first saw it, the thing that I was thinking about was if I could be a better me, by taking this class. It seems like that is a possibility.
You are a better you already. Perhaps you ought to say something about celebrating your strengths. Think about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Celebrate your strengths and know that whatever you have surmised as being weaknesses, your thoughts have convinced you of that.
Yeah.
And that's not the truth of you.
So I would like to realize the truth of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good way of saying that's a better way of saying, I'm already a better person.
Yes, we absolutely are. Surprisingly, we put ourselves down, we judge ourselves, we are hard on ourselves, sometimes using bad language on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not the truth of us. The truth of us is that we are, as we say in church, God individualized. We are all the good that anybody could imagine. We are all the strength and the healing and the wholeness and the joy and the exception of the best in life.
Yeah.
To take joy in ourselves.
I think that for me, I have been practicing a better mental diet when I pray. When I pray, it's very specific, and I feel more powerful. And then sometimes, when I'm just out in the world, I'm kind of caught up in little things, insignificant things, and or I'm caught up in other people's energy, or so I think I would like my energy to be more influential than their energy. I think I'd like to be more of a healer than a go-alonger, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes good sense. And the fact of the matter is that you already are, but don't know it.
The truth of me.
That is the truth of you.
So it's a matter of realizing and practicing the realizing.
Well, realizing and convincing oneself of the truth of oneself. How about you? Would you like to share anything, Phil?
Just I didn't know what to expect coming in. Just reshaping the subconscious mind. I have a lot of bad feelings and self-dialogue that goes on in my head that put myself down constantly and stuff. And
This
it
is
shapes how I perceive the world around me, and what I get out of things and stuff.
you're going to have to start reversing all of that.
Yeah.
Hear yourself. Hear yourself saying those untruths about you.
Right.
You're a part of God. Nothing could be better. You have all that within you to be expressed.
Yes.
And you are expressing portions of it, certainly.
Right.
very well. But hear what you're saying to yourself,
Yes.
and very deliberately say that is not the truth of me. This is truth of me, and reverse it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's an adventure, it's a challenge, but it will bring forth wonderful results as we use it positively.
It's almost like I don't identify it going on. Like, it just happens. Like, habit and stuff is so hard to break and stuff.
So you're going to be listening and seeing and changing,
Yeah.
all of that. It's a challenge, certainly, but the payoff is so wonderful. It's so fulfilling.
It is, and taking these things seriously kind of creates a red flag system. You know, in your day, in your head,
Yeah.
you can start having a feeling or a thought, and it'll be a red flag, and you can just click on it, and click it out,
Mm-hmm.
like
Reverse it.
reverse it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you have things to work on, and that's wonderful. Seeing them now will help, and you'll begin to see other things too that you are saying to yourself that are untrue about you, and you have to change. Your thoughts and your experiences will change as well.
I'd like to feel the help of rising above the situation in the world too. You know, just
That is something that challenges
to
everybody.
rise above it and not just be okay with it, but really heal it.
Exactly. How do we heal it? We heal it for ourselves and for others by knowing that God is there too.
Yeah.
God is in the midst of this, whatever looks so bad, is so bad. God is there.
Yeah.
Why is it going on? We don't know. But we have to believe that there is a God that is everywhere, including those places that seem to have so much trouble and so much pain and so much distress.
Well, I think, like you said, about the subconscious mind, if it's not logical and it deals with what it's given, it doesn't matter whether we're good people or bad people. The power is there for everyone. So I think for the things that I want from this class, they come from the things that I have gotten from church and from the divine science. I want that side of the subconscious power.
Exactly. And there's no reason why that can't be the case.
Yeah.
To be able to know that other people are experiencing negative things and say negative things to you and perhaps critical things, but it's their problem, not yours. You are God's child. Yeah, after a while, it can roll off of us like water off a duck's back. It doesn't hurt us. It gives us the certainty that that other person is in pain.
Yeah.
Or they would never say those things.
Yeah.
Pain or fear or
Trauma.
trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. class is going to be an adventure and positive change in our lives if you do the homework. If you keep up with, you'll forget. Try to remind yourself. If you can put a Post-it note on your bathroom mirror or on the dashboard of the car or someplace in the kitchen where you see it, the side of the refrigerator. Try to remind yourself, allow those things to remind you. And change them periodically, because after a while we don't even see them. We forget. Life is so busy. Life demands a great deal of us. So it takes effort. It takes doing the homework. If we don't do the homework, then this class is a waste of time and money. This week, we really are, we've discussed this, we're going to start listening, really listening to what we're saying and what our thinking is. If your thinking is typical, certainly you'll find a great many negative, self-defeating, quiet thoughts. When you catch yourself again, be sure to reverse every negative statement, every negative thought. It isn't the truth of you. You don't want it to be the experience of you. And it needn't be. Make your thoughts positive and self-affirming and generate that good feeling with it. Yes, this is the truth of me. And have that sort of little uplift in yourself. Emotion is very important. The feeling fuels the vigorous activity of the subconscious mind. Now, what is said in this room stays in this room. All the sharing is confidential. We don't talk about that to anybody. So think about it for a few moments, and if you want to share anything else that you're working on, you feel uncomfortable about, then do so. But start with something really simple, like the parking lot, finding the right place to park. It's surprising how really wonderfully that works. Now, is there anything else?
I think you answered your phone.
That's okay, I'm calling back. Can you think of some simple thing that you could start with?
I think you answered it.
No? Yeah, but I'm in the middle of a class. I'll call you back. Okay, talk to you later. That's my son. He's going to be here tomorrow.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's.
All right, so what is it you want us to do right now?
Think of something simple you can start with.
As a project for
Yes.
this exercise?
Yeah, this is a little exercise. The traffic is going to be really better today, and I won't get upset with it.
There's something I can't place at work, and I think I'm gonna figure it out. Even though I tell myself I can't do it,
You are going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I have a tendency lately to say out loud in an aggravated way, because I feel it. Why am I like this? I say it a lot. If I misplace my keys, or if I filled out a form wrong, or have to do something again, or didn't hit save, and I will say that. So I think that alone will keep me very busy. Just saying, I like who I am. I'm efficient.
Yeah.
Exactly. And who doesn't misplace their keys?
But it's the way I handle it. It's kind of, and I use it. You know, I don't want that to be the truth of me, but I use it. I say it out loud when people are around because I want them to know that I'm aggravated with myself, and that it's kind of a weird sort of self-degrading apology. That's the way but you know, I shouldn't reflect myself that way to others. So I think that's going to be a game changer.
Whoops, I forgot the keys. Anybody seen them?
Yeah, just stop saying, "Why am I like this?"
No, you are not like mistakes. You are powerful, you are intelligent, you are capable, you are loved, and you are loving. That's
Those
what
mistakes don't define you.
No, good,
Yeah.
very good.
What defines you is you can shake that.
Yes.
Yeah. And it would be a good idea.
Well, you've got something to work on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, would you say that's a wrap, or are we going to do?
That's a wrap.
Okay. Before I sign off on the internet, I'm just going to put this Valley Community Church phone number out there, 540-797-1367. If anybody listening has any questions or wants to discuss anything, that's our church phone number, and it will be answered. So once again, that's 540-797-1367. And you can also check this on our website at vccds.com. And so if there's a conversation that needs to be had between us or Dr. Wiggins or us, any ideas or questions you have, we'll be glad to answer. And thank you for joining us. Say goodbye.
Thank you for joining